Hi everybody. I thought I'd show you how I make my fish platters. The first thing I do is I use my little teeny weeny slab roller, but I'll tell you, it's enough for me. The slab roller came with a piece of burlap and 2 boards, and the way you determine the height is by the number of boards that you use through these rollers. When I'm making a fish plate, I use about 3 pounds of clay, and I roll it so that it goes from here to here, and then the slab roller pushes it that way. So I get enough to get this big of a piece of clay. So you could probably get a little larger piece with this slab roller, but that's really about it. I suppose it could be a longer piece if you just kept putting more boards through. So it's limited, but it gives me what I need. And then for this texture that I like on the bottom, I use shelf liner. You get this in America. Lots of people use it. It's just a, what is it, honey? Rubber? Polyester? I'm not sure. And it makes this just nice sort of subtle pattern and hides any of the flaws that I might make on the fish platter. So when I put it down into this mold has a line that's been drilled in here for the edge of the plate. So when I'm putting it down into the mold, I lift up the corners and gently press. For anyone who's made a pie, it's the same concept. You don't want this to get so stretched that it dries uneven. So I'm very gentle about pushing down on the center of my platter. And then I take my finger and just very gently smooth out some of the burlap texture. Some of it is still there, but because you're pushing the inside down, it gets a little mottled. And so it just kind of makes sense to me to sort of smooth it out. And I also take my rolling pin and just when I'm finished, oops, a little dry clay there, just gently give it a defined edge. I'm not putting any pressure at all. I'm just barely touching the clay. So it looks handmade, but it has a little bit of a definition there. Now, because of my limitations with my slab roller, my clay determines where the top and bottom of my fish is and where my nose and tail are because that's about where the line is, and I can't go any further out. So I know this is going to be top and bottom, so I come in where I know the drilled in line isn't, and I spin it on a banding wheel slowly until I feel my needle go into the groove, and then I just follow the groove. There's the bottom of my fish. And I do the same thing here. There's the top of my fish. This will be my tail. You don't want to come out too far. If you come out more than, say, 1/4 to 1/2 inch from where that line is, what will happen is this part of the platter will, at least in my kiln, cone 6, will bend down. So I'm just giving the illusion of a little bit of a tail. That's all there is to that. And then same thing when I'm doing the nose. I sort of draw it first, and then I join it down. So, there's the outline of a fish plate. The rest of it is really just adding my little touches. I like to put little lines here in the tail. I give it an eye with a golf tee. And I give it a mouth with this tool. So here's the mouth. I don't go up. I don't try to make them smile. I just give them a little indent for a mouth. And I use my golf tee for his eye. This needle's pretty cool because I think it's really a sculpturing needle. And it has this little sculpture edge. And it's nice and round, so I try to remember to use that for this part. And then for the top fin and the bottom fin, I take some of that extra clay that I had when I did the slab roll it out a little bit flatter, and I just make kind of the shape I want. Have some fun with it. Kind of the shape I want. Have some fun with it. And those two pieces get attached. I don't even score and slip because the clay is wet on wet. So the secret really is to make sure that this line matches this line. Same thing up here. That this line here matches the line of the platter. So I'll take a little time to put it on, push it on a little, sponge it a little. I'll sponge all around the edges. Not wet. Very, very dry sponge. Very gentle. Sometimes I go around 5 or 6 times, but I don't want to lose that edge, but yet I don't want a sharp edge. So sometimes I'm spinning this thing around 5 or 6 times, making sure that everything looks nice and straight. That transition to the face sometimes gets a little weird, but easy to fix. Very gentle around these little curvy parts. Clean my finger in there, whatever it takes. So when it gets leather hard, I take it out of the mold and I wipe the under edge with a sponge. Again, very gently, just getting the clay to soften up a little bit and move so that there's not a harsh, sharp edge. So by the time I get all this pushed on, gently wiped, there won't be any sharp edges anywhere on my fish plate. So that's how I do it. Found this mold at a yard sale. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Thanks for watching.